What's up, everybody? In this video, I'll be making my picks for bracket number 2 of the men's college basketball tournament for March Madness 2024. And I'm going to be switching up some of the picks this time and also trying to give some analysis. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Okay. So starting off, going to advance all of the number 1 seeds to the second round. I know that 16 seeds have pulled off the upset against 1 seeds more recently, more often, but this season I don't think it's gonna happen. Okay, and then the next thing that we're gonna do is we are going to look at the 2-15 matchups. I think each of the past 3 March Madness tournaments there has been at least one 15 seed to advance to the second round. So going to start off with the West region. I don't think Long Beach State will pull off the upset against Arizona, although Arizona did lose to Princeton, who was a 15 seed last season, so it's possible, but I don't see it happening. We got Tennessee with St. Peter's. I also don't really see this one happening as well. I think Tennessee will advance. St. Peter's has a different team than they had a couple years ago. They still could have some of the magic from that run that they had to the Elite Eight. And now we got Marquette versus Western Kentucky. The Tyler Kolek injury for Marquette is kind of key, because if he is out, then Western Kentucky has a better chance to pull off the upset. But I'm gonna go with the Marquette to advance. Now this is the 2-15 matchup that I would probably be most optimistic about, because Iowa State, although they did just come off a 30-point win against Houston, which is really impressive, South Dakota State has a player by the name of Zeke Mayo, and he's averaging about 19 points per game. So if he has a game against Iowa State in the first round, then I think they have a good chance to pull off the upset. For some reason, Iowa State struggles in March Madness tournaments. Recently, they get upset in the first couple of rounds when you think they would advance to the Elite Eight. But yeah, it could happen. So going to go with South Dakota State. Why not? Now we are going to pick 1 or 2 12 or 5 upsets. First one is San Diego State and UAB. I'm actually going to pick UAB for this bracket because UAB is coming off of a hot streak from their conference tournament where they won it in the American Conference. I think they could continue that momentum in the first round at least. And now we got Wisconsin versus James Madison. I picked James Madison to pull off the upset in the first bracket. But this time, let's go with Wisconsin. Even though they've been inconsistent a lot this season, I could see them getting to the second round at least. And then we got St. Mary's versus Grand Canyon. I feel like this is the most popular 12/5, maybe upset, along with the next one. But let's go with St. Mary's. They did win their conference tournament, the WCC, and went undefeated for 90% of it into the last season game against Gonzaga. So that was impressive. So let's give them the props for that and get them to the second round. And then Gonzaga versus McNeese State. In the first one, I picked Gonzaga in the first bracket. But this time, let's go with McNeese State. McNeese State is in the top 10 in the nation for team 3-point shooting percentage. I believe it's over 40%. So, yeah, let's just have them pull off the upset. Okay. Now, with the 8-9 matchups, it's a toss-up game pretty much, hence the 8 and 9 seeds that the teams got. Well, let's go with the FAU Owls for the East region. They have the experience from last March Madness tournament with some of the players that returned from that run to the Final Four, I believe. So that could be beneficial for them this season. And then we got Nebraska versus Texas A&M. Going to go with Texas A&M this time. They did defeat Kentucky twice, and no other team did that this season. So that's impressive. And then Texas A&M also has a guard by the name of Wade Taylor the fifth, who can explode for a big game. And if he does have a big game against Nebraska, then he'll be tough to stop. And then with the with the 8-9 matchup here, we got Utah State versus TCU. Let's go with Utah State this time. Utah State, I'm not really familiar with their game, but TCU has been up and down this season. And then Michigan State, Mississippi State, let's go with Michigan State still. Izzo-led team. I think he will have the team prepared, even though a lot of people said they shouldn't have made the tournament. But yeah. Okay, gonna try to speed this up a little bit. Let's go with BYU. They have a top 10 3-point percentage as a team as well. We got Texas Tech and NC State. Going to go with Texas Tech to move on. And then we got the 7-10 matchup. I'm going to go with Drake. They have a player by the name of Tucker DeVries, I believe the son of the coach for Drake. And I think they're a slept-on team. Wazoo has been struggling as of late as well. And then Florida versus Boise State / Colorado. Usually one of the playing teams advance to the Sweet 16 at least. So let's go with that trend here. And then going to go with Kentucky over Oakland, and Illinois over Morris State, Auburn over Yale, and then Duke over Vermont. Okay. And then these lower regions, going to go with Alabama over Charleston, New Mexico over Clemson, Baylor over Colgate. Let's go with Nevada this time over Dayton. Still going to go with UAB / Colorado State over Texas, Creighton over Akron. Let's go with South Carolina this time over Oregon. Going to go with Kansas over Stanford. And okay, we're moving on to the Sweet 16. I think no defending national champion has advanced to the Sweet 16 since 2017. I saw the stat. It's tough to go against UConn just because they're so good of a team, well constructed, and have been playing phenomenally this season. So going to advance into the Sweet 16. Going to go with Auburn over UAB. Going to pick the upset here, BYU over Illinois. The 3-point shooting, it's a good strength to have, and I think that'll help them against Illinois because Illinois is a high-scoring team as well. And then we got Drake versus South Dakota State. Interesting. Going to go with the Drake. Yep. And then we got Houston versus Texas A&M. Going to go with Houston to get to the Sweet 16. Wisconsin versus Duke. Let's go with Duke to get to the Sweet 16. Texas Tech versus Kentucky. I think the upset is possible here with Texas Tech over Kentucky, so I'm going to go with them. And then Boise State, Colorado versus Marquette. Going to go with the upset here as well. Boise State or Colorado to get to Sweet 16. Okay, we got North Carolina versus Michigan State. Going to go with the Spartans to pull off the upset. We got St. Mary's and Alabama. I'm going to go with St. Mary's. And then we got New Mexico and Baylor. In the first bracket, I went with New Mexico. But let's go with Baylor this time. They have good guard play with Jacoby Walter and Ray J. Davis. And then we got Arizona versus Nevada. I'm going to go with Arizona. Okay, in this region with the Midwest, got another upset with the number 1 seed. I'm going to go with Utah State over Purdue. We got McNeese State and Kansas. Going to go with Kansas. Then we got South Carolina and Creighton. Going to go with the Creighton Blue Jays. And Tennessee / UAB or Colorado State. Going to go with Tennessee. Okay. Moving on to the Elite Eight. We got Auburn versus UConn. I think this is where UConn is defeated by Auburn. And then we got BYU Drake. Going to go with the BYU Cougars to get to the Elite Eight. We got Houston versus Duke. Going to go with the Houston Cougars. Texas Tech or Boise State / Colorado. Let's go with Texas Tech, the Red Raiders. And then we got this bottom region, the West. Michigan State versus St. Mary's. Going to go with Michigan State to get to the Elite Eight. Arizona versus Baylor. This will be a great game. But going to go with the Baylor Bears. We got Utah State and Kansas. This is also a pretty tough game to choose between. Going to go with the Kansas Jayhawks to get to the Elite Eight. Creighton versus Tennessee. Got the Creighton Blue Jays to get to the Elite Eight. All right, Elite Eight time. Auburn versus BYU. Got Auburn winning that one. Houston versus Texas Tech. Got Houston winning that to get to the Final Four. Michigan State versus Baylor. Going to go with Baylor though. And then we got Kansas versus Creighton. Going to go with the Creighton Blue Jays here. Okay, so it's Final Four time. We got Baylor and Auburn. Going to go with the Baylor Bears to make it to the national championship game to go against the Houston Cougars. And it's a Big 12 national championship game. So going to pick the Houston Cougars to win it all. Breaker going to go with 172 points. There we got submit the bracket. And there we go. Houston Cougars as national champions.